Scene 4. Where the Witch Lives. Witch Hex lives in a queer, dark place, somewhat like a cavern, with walls of soft black moss. Yet it can't be underground, for looking out through the single entrance that serves for both door and window, you can see the moon, very big and low, and always shining day or night. A great fire blazes in the middle of the floor, and over it stands a boiling cauldron. Against the wall is a large chest, carved with strange signs, in which the witch keeps her magic things. Curled up asleep by the fire lies her pet cat, Fiddle. Fiddle is enormous for a cat, almost as big as a small boy. Presently he wakes, yawns, and has a long stretch, shaking the last sleepiness out of both hind legs. Then he washes his face carefully, round and round, with his paw. He feels hungry, so he rubs his stomach, but as that doesn't do much good, he looks about for something to eat. A large tin with holes bored in the cover stands on the chest, and he remembers seeing his mistress sprinkle something from this over her food. So he lies down on his back luxuriously, and, licking his chops, takes the tin in both hind paws and shakes it vigorously over his open mouth. But suddenly, with an enormous yowl, he leaps into the air, coughing, blinking, sneezing, and mewing all at once. What he found was the witch's pepper pot. The pepper makes him feel extremely lively, and now he spies a loose end of yarn dangling from an old spinning wheel that stands in a dark corner. He bounds to it and pats the swinging end to and fro. But the wool catches on one of his sharp claws, and he cannot throw it off. He rolls on the ground to break it, but the yarn is strong and only binds him round and round. Now he is frightened and begins to run and whirl and spring into the air. But with every movement the thread, unwinding from the wheel, wraps him closer and closer. And the more he spins and turns and somersaults head over heels, the more tangled he gets, till at last he cannot move a paw or even swing his indignant tail, and lies on his back a helpless, mewing bundle. Fortunately, at this moment there's a shadow across the moon, and Witch Hex flies home, riding on her broomstick, a basket on her arm. The witch, alighting and setting her broomstick away.
There! Glad to be home at last. Where is Queen Brangamar? I thought she'd be here before me with Snow White's heart. I had to go halfway to the moon for the other ingredients for that magic hair restorer, but I've got them all safe in my basket. Where is that lazybones cat of mine? Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle!
The only answer is a faint mew from something like a huge ball of yarn in the corner. The witch examines it, and then breaks into a laugh.
Well, Fiddle, whatever have you been up to now? Oh ho! Playing with my spinning wheel. Well, you are a snarl. Wait, I'll unwind you.
She seizes one end of the yarn and winds it into a ball, but so quickly that poor Fiddle, at the other end, spins and whirls and revolves like a top as she unwinds him, and the witch laughs at his antics until the tears stream down her withered old cheeks. When he is free, Fiddle has to sit in a corner and hold his head in both paws for dizziness. But, picking up her basket, the witch says,
Now come here and help me mix that magic hair restorer. We must do all the other ingredients together before Brangamar comes.
The witch and Fiddle dance round and round the cauldron in a mystic circle. And as Hex throws the various things she has collected into the boiling brew, she sings,
A hair from the tail of a ride-a-cock horse, a lace from the old woman's shoe, a bit of the tuffet of little Miss Muffet, the blast of the little boy blue, a tear of the kittens who lost all their mittens when they began to cry, a sniff from Miss Mary when she was contrary, the plum from Jack Horner's pie. A slice of green cheese from the man in the moon, the tales of the 3 blind mice, a bone from the cupboard of old Mother Hubbard, and little girls' sugar and spice. A tick from the clock of Hickory Dock, the tales of the sheep of Bo Peep, the eye of the fly that saw Cock Robin die, and the baa from the baa black sheep.
When she has finished the mixture, the witch sniffs the steam from the cauldron, and then sips a little of the brew from the ladle.
Tastes good, and hot enough. Yes, the ladle is red hot. Now that's all except the heart. Fiddle, set the kettle to cool.
Fiddle takes the cauldron from over the fire and sets it in the corner.
It's chilly.
She tucks up her skirts and sits down comfortably on the blazing fire.
Ah, that feels good. Nothing to do now but wait for Snow White's heart. But then you shall see what you shall see. A beautiful head of long wavy hair. Ah, here's Brangamar at last.
Queen Brangamar enters. Fiddle bows low to her.
Sorry to be late, dear Hexie, but Berthold never returned till morning, and then I had to see personally to having him locked up in the Grey Tower. He made a frightful fuss, but I was afraid to trust him.
Did he bring the heart?
Yes, here it is. Oh, how I hated that child.
Hair restorer's just ready for it. Help me up. Don't like to sit on the fire too long. I dozed off the other day and boiled over. Now the heart.
She takes it and hobbles to the cauldron.
Receipt says that when I add this, the brew will turn beautiful pink. Then I dip in my head and presto! Long, lovely hair. Now watch.
She drops the heart into the cauldron, which steams vigorously, dancing with delight.
See it steam.
But it's turning green, not pink.
So it is. Still, there can't be any mistake. I was most careful. Well, here goes for a handsome head of hair. You'll hardly know me when you see me again.
She dips her head 3 times into the steaming cauldron, and then raises it proudly.
How's that? Pretty fine, eh?
Surely something has sprouted on the witch's bald pate. The queen looks carefully, and then bursts into a peal of laughter, and Fiddle, holding his sides, rolls on the ground in mirth.
What are you laughing at? Feels very thick and curly. Stop that cackling.
Oh, my dear Hex, you have a head full of pigtails.
Pigtails? Nonsense. It's short and curly.
Not pigtails, Hexie. Your head is covered with the little white curly tails of pigs.
She feels the growth carefully.
By hopscotch! They are pig's tails. Stop laughing. If the joke's on anybody, it's on you. Instead of a human heart, your precious huntsman has brought back the heart of a pig, and Miss Snow White is alive this moment. Ha ha for you!
What? Snow White alive?
If these are pig's tails, that was a pig's heart. Ask your magic mirror if Snow White's not alive.
Seizing the mirror which hangs from her girdle.
Mirror, mirror, in my hand, who's the fairest in the land?
You who hold me in your hand, you were fairest in the land, but today I answer true, Snow White is more fair than you.
Snow White alive!
She starts to dash the mirror to the ground. Seizing it,
Be careful with that mirror, I tell you. Mirror, mirror, truly tell, where doth Princess Snow White dwell?
Mid the ancient forest dells, with the 7 dwarfs she dwells.
You see, your deceitful huntsman has let Snow White escape, and brought back a pig's heart to fool us with. Snow White has found the house of the 7 dwarfs, and there you are, my merry lady.
The 7 dwarfs? Who are they?
Rather nice little men. Sort of gnomes. Live all alone. Never saw them myself.
wrapping her cloak about her.
Where do they live?
Oh ho! Intend to deal with Snow White yourself this time, do you?
Where do they live?
The usual way is about 20 miles over the mountains, but there's a shortcut through my backyard. Less than a mile away.
Give me a knife or a dagger, quickly.
What? Walk into the dwarf's house, knife in hand, and crown on your head like that? I'd sooner dance into a hornet's nest. Really, Brangamar, if I were you, I'd swap brains with the grasshopper.
But what shall I do? She's alive. She's more beautiful than I. My heart will burn itself out of my body like a live coal. Tell me some way.
Dearie me, have I got to plan it all out for you again? You're a nuisance.
How? How?
There's only one safe way.
Yes?
First, I must transform you into a different-looking person altogether.
And then?
And then give you some means of disposing of Snow White that the dwarfs can't trace back to you. Fiddle, fetch me the deadly poison things.
Ah, poison. Yes, that's it.
Fiddle fetches an odd-looking box full of strange articles from the magic chest. Examining them.
Almost none left. A pair of poison slippers, no use. Poison pipe, no. Oh, here, the best thing in the box, the poisoned apple. Beautiful, isn't it? Only the red side is poisoned. The white side is perfectly good. If you want to tempt anybody, eat the white side yourself, but the least bite of the red side, and down they drop like a tombstone. But no, you're not clever enough to be trusted with that. Here we are, the poisoned comb, the very thing.
Let me see it.
She seizes the jeweled comb.
Put that in Snow White's hair, let it stay there while you count to 100. And that's all over with her. It doesn't work instantly like the apple, but it's much safer with a stupid person like you.
How my fingers itch to set this in her black hair. Now, what disguise?
Disguise? Oh, yes. Fiddle, bring me the transformation mixtures.
Fiddle brings from the chest 3 odd-shaped bottles, one filled with green, one with purple, and one with orange liquid.
Are these all? My entire stock of magic's running out. Lucky I'm going to retire from business next year.
Attempting to seize a bottle.
Let me see.
Don't snatch. Wretched manners. I'll read the labels. 5 drops before breakfast. Well, I declare I've written out the doses most carefully, but totally forgotten what they change people into. But that's easily remedied. A drop of each in the cauldron, and you'll see for yourself. Now watch.
She reads one. She pours a few drops from the green bottle into the cauldron. Instantly a cloud of steam rises, and in the steam, dimly at first, and then quite clearly, appears the figure of an old and wrinkled hag in threadbare garments. On one arm she carries a large basket filled with ribbons, laces, needles, thread, and such articles.
I remember. The old peddler woman disguise. Just the thing. You could pretend to be selling Snow White the comb. But let's see what the others are anyhow.
She pours some drops from the purple bottle into the cauldron. The image of the peddler woman vanishes. In its place appears the figure of a small naked baby.
Oh, the baby! I used that once myself. Caught an awful cold, too. Useless for you. Now how about this orange mixture?
She pours from the orange bottle. This time the image is that of a stout, jovial, red-faced man. He wears an apron and has a green patch over one eye. Balanced on his head he carries a tray full of various sorts of pies.
That's the one-eyed pieman. Good, but not as good as the peddler woman for your purpose.
What is a pieman?
Man who sells pies, stupid. What did you suppose? But a pieman wouldn't be selling combs. Peddler woman it is. Green bottle. Dose 1 tablespoonful with peppermint after. Haven't got any peppermint, but that was only to take away the taste.
She produces a spoon and uncorks the bottle.
Is the taste very bad?
Vile. Really one of the nastiest tastes I've ever made. Open your mouth.
Is being transformed painful?
No, but unpleasant. Feels as though you were being turned inside out like a glove. Open your mouth.
I think think on the whole I'll wait till tomorrow. You see, I have an important tea party at court this afternoon, and
Oh ho, cowardly, cowardly custard. Here, Fiddle, here's sport for you. Get the black mantle.
From the chest, Fiddle whisks a large black cloth embroidered with strange-looking symbols, and advances toward the Queen.
What is he going to do?
Wrap you up so you can't scratch while I pour this down your throat.
But I'm not ready. I must go home first.
She makes a dash for the door, but Fiddle is before her. Then begins a lively chase about the cave, the Queen running and dodging, Fiddle following and trying to throw the black mantle over her head. The witch enjoys it all hugely, crying, "Run, Brangamar! Catch her, Fiddle!" and slapping her old knees with delight till she is quite out of breath. At last Fiddle succeeds in cornering Queen Brangamar, and throws the mantle over her head.
Well done, Fiddle, well done. Trip her up and sit on her.
Fiddle does so. The witch also sits down on the squirming Queen, and humming happily to herself, pours out a tablespoonful of the green mixture.
Now where is her mouth?
I won't take it. I won't.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Brangamar.
She pours the dose through the cloth into the Queen's mouth, and as the Queen writhes, she goes on.
I know it tastes bad, but nothing to make such a fuss about.
Suddenly she holds up a warning finger.
I feel her changing. Do you?
Fiddle nods.
Done. Up with her, off with the mantle. Let's see the result.
Fiddle draws off the mantle. Lo! The Queen has been transformed into the likeness of the old peddler woman, just as it appeared in the steam, basket of goods and all.
Splendid. Wouldn't recognize you myself, Brangamar. Hope you haven't lost the poison comb. No, here it is in your hand. Now, it wasn't half as bad as you thought it would be, was it?
It was awful. Why, is this my voice?
Of course. Different voice with every disguise.
I'm all cramps, too. How do I change back?
Dear me, luckily you thought to ask. I might have forgotten. Just say, peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot, 9 days old. But say it backwards, like this. Old days 9, pot in the porridge peas, cold porridge peas, hot porridge peas. That turns you right side out again.
I must remember. Let me see. Old days 9.
But the witch claps her hand over Brangamar's mouth.
Gracious woman, don't say it yet. We'd have to do this all over again. Really, you are the most senseless... Oh, be off with you. I've had quite enough of you for one day.
Now for Snow White. Oh, Hex, once I set this in her hair and see her lying dead before my own eyes.
Don't forget to count to 100.
It will be the happiest moment of my life.
Nasty disposition.
Going to the door.
You shan't escape me this time, my little beauty. You have no soft-hearted Berthold to deal with now, but Brangamar her very self.
And off she strides toward the house of the 7 dwarfs. Left alone with Fiddle, the witch goes to the blazing fire and again sits down upon it thoughtfully.
Poor little Snow White. I'm afraid her goose is cooked this time. I'm really sorry for her. I don't bear her any ill will in spite of my pig's tails. Fiddle, bring my mirror.
Fiddle brings the mirror, and Witch Hex studies her new appearance carefully.
Oh, not so bad after all. They're quite becoming. Sure to keep their curl in the dampest weather, and certainly the very latest thing.
The curtain falls. End of Scene 4.